Today we're going to speak about the real deal about continuous delivery. I know not all of you are technical, but I guess a lot of you are hearing this buzzword everywhere. So what I'm going to walk you through is our experience and what we took out of it. I'm trying not to be too nerdy, too geeky, but if you want to speak about a bit more details, come to see me after. So this is what we're going to get through. I'm just going to present a bit, do a bit of marketing for ourselves first. Then I'm going to move to a little nerdy phase. I'm going to explain what is CD, and I'm going to speak about culture around that. So let's get into it. For some context, we have been very lucky to work with a lot of multinational companies, ranging from retails to pure tech, and that's in China, Europe, and in the US. What does that mean? It means that we are building big infrastructures. When you are building an omni-channel presence for Starbucks in China, you don't address for like 200,000 users daily. You address for like 20 million active users daily, which means that you need to make sure that you can go at high velocity. I don't really see Starbucks waiting for you 3 months because you want to use the latest tech. You want to be able to get something out there in five weeks instead of 5 months. And we will see why continuous delivery can help with that. So this is me. I'm the Chief Janitor Officer. I shove a lot of the crap that I can to make sure that we are shipping on time and we stay alive. I mean, we all have all-nighters to be able to get through that. I'm the one helping the team with that. So let's get started. So what is the concept of continuous delivery? The main concept is really to be able to go fast, to test and release very quickly, and to have that in a continuous manner. It means that this is not something that's going to happen at the end. This is not a little dot in your Gantt chart. It's something that has to happen on a daily basis, on a commit basis, on everything that you do. So for us, we can say that it's really part and really important for the culture of a company. Let's nerd a bit. So this is our stack. This is all of the tools that we use that can be relevant on a daily basis to continuous delivery. I'm going to go through them. I'm sorry, I'm going to be a bit nerdy there, but for some people it can be interesting, for others boring. But you will see all of these tools have bring a little facets to this continuous delivery that we are trying to achieve. First, we're using Dockers. So Dockers abstract runtime environment complexity. Basically, you forget about having all of your database and everything. You put them in a container, you ship that, it's going to work on different environments. Yeah, I'm making that roughly. Don't take me just on the point. Again, some people are like, no, this is not exactly that. I know. Just trying to make it a bit high level. We also use Kubernetes sometimes, but most of the times it's overkill. I mean, you need to have a huge fleet of containers to be able to do it. I don't know a lot of companies that have the volume to do that. I think only Nike that I know that really use them properly. Next, we are using Ansible. So Ansible allows us to manage the configurations and orchestrations below and beneath and above Dockers. Meaning we can, for example, ship together the host system configurations, shipping the network configurations, and on top we can have some orchestration. I said it was a bit geeky. Yeah? Don't take me on that. We're going to go to the good part after. Pipeline. So pipeline is something that we created internally because we hate Jenkins. It's amazing. We don't have one developer internally that don't hate. And I don't know if some of you already use Jenkins, but my God, okay, it's nice. It does a lot of things, but it does too many things. And you need like 3 developers just managing Jenkins. So we built these things that is based on Python. And basically what it allows us to do is just to deploy some playbooks. So you click on one button and you do it. And that's pretty much it. Simple interface, as you can see. Everything is very flat, so everything is in YAML. It tracks everything, so you have logs everywhere. So you can see who did the click that broke the productions. Well, we know who it is. And we also defer the authentications to GitHub, so anybody in the team can just come into it. If they are parts of the current repository, well, you're in. A little example on that. For example, we have our head of QA. Actually, earlier, she saw that there were some commits that were pushed, but then not yet deployed on staging, so she was blocked on her test. Well, she went over there, and I mean, she doesn't know Ansible, she doesn't know Docker or anything. She just clicked on the play, she deployed, and she could go with it. It's also open source. If you guys want to go over there and just like grab it and play with it, please be my guest. Afterwards, we have everything that is related to QA and QC. So we are using Travis CI to have the continuous integrations. We are using SonarQube to be able to do smell tests, static analysis of our code. We have, what is the last one? We have Sentry.io. It's pretty awesome. It gives you contextualized continuous logs. So when there is something crashing in your app, be it on the device, on the browser, you're going to receive a proper log with what happened. It's really good to be able to go and to debug very fast problems in production. We also have a continuous logging and continuous monitoring with ELK, so Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana that allow us to grab all of the logs and make them digestible and searchable. With the tick stack as well, Telegraph, InfluxDB, Chronograph, and Grafana, that allow us to get all of the metrics continuously and being able to see when there is something bad happening, or there is like an outage on the productions, being able to debug. Again, is for us to be able to go very quickly with it. So the result of that, and that will be the last slide that will be a bit geeky, then we're going to go to the part that is a bit more interesting, I will say. The result of that is that basically we have access to everything at every moment. This is what we could call a mature continuous delivery culture. At any moment, anybody can see what is happening. So you're aware, for example, or not perhaps, if you are using Travis CI, you do a commit, it's going to run your test, you're going to have a feedback in your GitHub ticket. If you deploy, when we deploy with a pipeline, or when we deploy with Ansible, we receive some feedback with it. So we see if there is an issue. The idea behind that is to be able to really, really minimize the feedback loop. It's not to wait to see something, but it's to see it directly. At the beginning, you usually have a lot of problems. You're going to see many, many problems, but these problems are going to be very, very small and digestible. So you're going to be able to tackle them way more quickly than if you wait the last moment to be able to do it. And that's at every level, be it in the code quality, be it in your test, be it in your UI test even, be it at the configuration level, deployment. All of that, you need to be aware fast. And the best way to do it is to have everyone aware, because perhaps the DevOps guys, he launched it, it's going to take like 5-10 minutes, he's doing something else, and he forgets about it. That happens. If you make it transparently, everybody will be accountable with it. So it's not going to be just the DevOps guys or the front-end developer or the back-end developer that's going to be accounted for it. It's going to be the team as a whole. So you are starting to create a culture of transparency and self-reliance. On top of that, all of this doesn't come from one day to the other. It's not tomorrow, oh cool, I saw all of these nice tools, I'm going to do the same, and tomorrow we're going to kick ass. Not going to happen, because you need to be able to enforce that on your team, on the different people, and you need for that to have best practices. Best practices are way more important than tools. If tomorrow you CI, you want to use Circle CI, I don't care. Just use it, but use it properly. Use it for a purpose. Don't try to just put layers and layers of tools on top of it to make it look cool, or to try to achieve something that you yourself are not achieving. It also go for the same. You had the comments about UX designer and developers. It does the same. You need to have culture through that, being able to understand them and what exactly they want to do. Well, we do that by having our Zeppelin and visions directly in it. So we see all of the little changes that they are doing. We see when they are uploading the assets. We see the time that they are moving. We also have a centralized, we do everything in GitHub. We had Jira, I'm sorry, but Jira is the same than Jenkins for me. It's awful, but anyway. So let's talk about the geeking. What's actually matter from everything, from all of that, is that you need to track everything. You need to automate everything. We are nerds. We are lazy. If I can do a script and it's going to take me 3 days to make sure that I don't have to do something again, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Why? Because I don't like to do things and repeat them. And that's also going to be helpful because the next time around, I'm going to be able to focus on another activity instead of focusing on something that I already done. And we need to optimize and release continuously. I'm going to see just after, but you need to be able to rely on having releases very fast and make sure that this release will work. Well, I mean, everybody working on products, you know what it is. You are trying to have a release, all of a sudden, oh yeah, but the backend is not ready, or these things was not tested. And then your project manager come back and he's like, well, you see this Gantt chart that we did 4 months ago, you were supposed to do the QA at this time. And you're like, well, yeah, but the assets were late. And then you go into a loop of discussions for something that should not have happened. If you had very, very small feedback loop and self-resilience, like being able to see things when they happen, you will not have an issue at the end. But it takes time. The goal with that is really to develop resilience and to help surface defects early. Shit will always hit the fan. But the only thing that can happen is that you have to know it as soon as possible. If you see that the code quality of somebody is not good, well, you tell him, your code suck. And I can tell you here why, because we see that it doesn't get through the CI, we see it doesn't get through the smell test. Well, this is like this. Anyway, why should you care? Because it's good that this is what we care. You should care because culture is important. This is what you need to have. What we're trying to bring at least for me, as product manager, as project manager, as UX developer, as front-end, back-end developer, is innovation. To be able to do the same animations in iOS that you did because you saw it in Airbnb app. I mean, come on. It's, yeah, cool. But your project manager will ask you to do it and so on. But this is because you don't have the space to innovate. And to compete, you need to be able to have assumptions and to assess them quickly. So you need to go to market very, very, very quickly. On top of that, as I said, tech should not be an obstacle, but should help you. So the tech does not really matter in the end. You can use what you want. What matters is that you have this continuous delivery. What matters is the goal. But to achieve that, you need the culture. So why is that hard? As I said, culture. Why tomorrow we cannot just go to PwC and being like, hey guys, I'm going to build your app? Well, because we're gonna have frictions. It's not possible. We're going to have problems with IT. We're going to have problems with marketing. We're going to have red tape left and right. So before I speak about a few of the clients that we had, let me run through a few of the stages that we see of companies and organizations, usually where they stand. So step 0, you come to a company, you have no product cultures. They don't know what product is. Digital product team does not exist. You only have an IT team, you have a marketing team. Your IT team have no documentation whatsoever, monolithic stuff. They don't care about tests. They're just well, I have Java, I really like it. If you want, you can work on this Windows VM to be able to access a server with PuTTY. Wow, cool. We're going to be able to develop properly with that. Then you have marketing. Marketing, they are well, when do you guys launch? Yeah, you launch this date. Cool, I'll see you at this date. It's pretty much it. Or they come back at the last moment, and this is what we want. And they don't want really to invest the time. They are interested just about the D-Day. The rest, they don't really care. The challenge here is to be able to create the space for the digital product team to sprout and to start to flourish and being able to reach some innovations. This is the grinding that we see a lot. It's very, very difficult. Then the next steps, when you start to have a bit more space, this is when you start to have IT that is, fighting changes. They go between being nice to being to the status quo. They're going to still come back well, these things, it doesn't come into our stack, whereas it has nothing to do with the legacy API that is there for 15 years, and nobody knows how it works, but it works, don't touch it. We saw that so many times. And then you have marketing that will be, well, cool, yeah, I understand analytics. You could perhaps gonna have like one or two guys that knows analytics, and will be like, yeah, I want analytics for my launch. They will see the analytics, they will see the spurts, but they will not really understand the analytics for in the full lifeline of the product. They are still not fully invested. They don't try to bind what they are doing to their business KPI. Here, the problem is just that you need to stay alive. Like you are starting like to grow, but there is still a lot of resilience. So you don't want people like to steal some of your budget. You don't want people to steal like some of your elements. You don't want people like just to move your timeline because there is Jamie from tech that doesn't like it. So staying alive is the most important. Then you have the awesome one. There are people where IT know its positions. They're going to be here. They're going to support you. The guys, they will be, yeah, it's a tech we don't know, but doesn't matter. Here is a server. Have fun. This is how we do things. They're going to support you on the monitoring. They're going to support you on the upgrade of the servers and so on. You're going to have marketing that comes in and being like, yeah, well, this is what we understand. This is our business KPI. How do we make it fit with your analytics? How can you make sure that what we're going to build and what the Project Digital team is going to build fits in our full understanding of what we want to achieve during the year? And this is really the awesome things, because you start like to have support left and right, and you can create something that is interesting. But here, the only problem is not just to die under the sheer weight of the organizations and trying like to be able like to keep most of the politics at bay. Story time. So this is the last 3 clients. I'm not going to be too harsh with them because I want to keep them. But this is what happened. Like, we went to Walmart, we arrived, no documentation, nothing, no code. I saw a guy pushing some updates on production through FTP. I mean, come on. This is not 1995. I did that for a website. I mean, please. It was pure HTML. Very monolithic things. Marketing that really didn't understood what we were trying to do, but just wanted to say, okay, you're going to launch, cool. We're going to do the stuff behind. And we really just saw them 2 days after and 2 days before the launch. Starbucks, they had and they still have like some digital team that were starting like to get good and having like some talents. The big problem is that we had an IT that were sometimes nice, sometimes more status quo. We had some marketing that didn't know anything about analytics, which is not so good to understand what users are doing. And then we have Nike. Well, I was just blown away. The guy they come in, everything is already ready. Just arrive in the room. The guy was like, well, this is your PM, this is your product manager, this is the guy that's gonna help you with IT, this is the guy we're gonna do with marketing. Here's all the documentations. Have fun for the next 3 days just to read through that, which was great. I loved it. But there is still all of the political red tape that we have to get through. Well, don't get too close to that. Don't do that too much. And sometimes they just come with some politics that does not matter for us. Like, we just want to deliver. We don't really want like to take how do you say? We just don't want to be in front of the camera. We don't care. We just want like to be able like to ship something that we know is good. So what matters to achieve that is that you need to have champions at the C levels or at the upper management. You need to have people that can vouch for you at the higher level, that understand digital product marketing. You need to be ready for growing pains. When you go into something and you try like to build it, you're always going to have some issues. It's never going to be easy, never going to be easy. You also have to do things slowly, do one step at a time. There is no reasons to just arrive and try to change everything at the same time. It never works, even less in big organizations. You can see even in your team with like 2 or 3 people, when you try to bring changes, it's the most difficult to change. You can change tools, culture is difficult. And you have to establish clear roles for the main partners. You really have to have IT, marketing, digital that know where they sit and that know where they can work together. The goal, well, is to create a viable digital product team to lead to innovations. If you don't have that, you're not going to be able to innovate enough. So let's wrap it up. Continuous delivery is a facet of data-driven and user-centric culture. This is a lot of buzzword, right? I'm just going to expand them and how we see them. For example, data. For us, we do everything from data. Be it monitoring, we review the logs, we review the metrics. Be it for the analytics, when I launch something, everything is already in my analytics, in my Fabric.io. I review the crash, everything to make sure that my assumptions where I created these things, and I was very happy about it. Well, it doesn't work. For example, for Starbucks, we launched one of the payments. I made like some awesome animations and so on. Nobody used it. I could see I had like 1.5% of the user going through it. Well, that is super shitty. I was feeling bad about it. And then there is somebody that came with an idea, oh, let's do a page that we can share with like a little cup, and you can move the cup, and it starts moving in it. And I was like, okay, well, let's do that on the sides. And we did that in 3 days. It was really easy, very fun. My God, everybody, like we had a huge surge of people using it. So it's just why it worked, because we went to market quickly, we looked in the data, and we saw, yeah, it works. So let's keep on doing these things, even if it goes against my idea. And they're wrong, I know it. And yeah, and user-centric because we are trying to reach the users as soon as possible. Be it MVP, POC, productions, you need to go as soon as possible. It doesn't mean you have to go with the things half broken. But if you have your cultures of this continuous delivery of all of these little organic changes that you do, well, you are sure about the next steps you are doing. Try to think about it as a scientific method. Try to think about it as an organic way. Your culture, your continuous delivery is the same as nature. You need to make small changes, small tweaks as you go, and you're going to have a lot of failures along the way. Like, we are here today because we have a huge panel of failures that come in since the inception of life. It's the same in continuous delivery. You are incepting, you are trying like to have a product that you start from nothing. You need to go through small steps and have very quick feedback loop of what works and what doesn't. You have all of these aspects can be really wrapped into continuous delivery. As I said, a quick feedback loop is the most important. But one of the biggest problems, and I'm going to leave it on that, and I know this is always people are like, yeah, it's cool, you are telling us all of that, but you know, what comes first? The cultures, the tools, the processes, how do I start? Well, I don't know, just start. I mean, this is the chicken and egg problems. You need to start somewhere because you cannot validate, if you don't have success, you cannot validate saying this culture is the best. But without the tools, you cannot also achieve that. But when you achieve that, you can look at your tools and say they're bad. So you just have to start somewhere. There is like no other things. Just keep in mind that you're going to fail, but fail very quick, very easy. Do very small feedback loop, and it's going to work. Thanks.